Hi all, Mike German from Visual Animation. Right, so welcome to part 2 of the best of Pyro. So I hope you had a look at my first one, which was the head in the mesh and dripping pyro smoke through the mesh. So today we've got this mixing paint using Pyro. So as you can see on the screen, we've got yellow paint, we've got blue paint, and obviously yellow and blue mixed makes green. So what we've got here is a simulation that is mixing the colours together, and then we're assigning another colour for this paint effect that once it's hit the trough, it's going to turn into the colour of the mix. Now, shall we just start a new scene? Let me just show you how this works. Okay, let's go through a completely new scene. So basically what we want is, now I'm not going to spend ages modelling these buckets too much, but we just start with a cylinder. Let's just grab it down like that, and then if we just copy that, make it a bit smaller, pop it up like that, and then we're just going to put a bool for these two like that, so it just chops it out. Now we can make this a little bit smoother. We can go up a few more segments here, like 30, make it a little bit more round. And then once we're done there, we can just right click on bool and say connect objects and delete. Then that will just create like one nice paint can. So that's that. Let's angle it like it's going to be tipping paint out. So just tip it over. Yeah, don't worry too much. Just just tip it over like that, just so it's going to be tipping out the paint. And then what we need is we want something that the pyro is going to emit from. Okay, so we just want to put, say, another cylinder. Now, a good trick here is if you want this to be the same orientation, so we want it to be a bit smaller, I know, but if we want that to be the same orientation of what we've just done, you just pop it underneath, and then you right click on the screen here and say reset transform, and then it will just drop it in there without you having to try and work out the angles. Right, let's just make that a little bit smaller. We don't want it to be a very big emitter really. We just want that to be something that the paint or the pyro can attach to. Okay, so let's take that out of there, and let's right click and add some pyro to that. Let's call this paint, if I can spell, paint tin. And oh, definitely can't spell, 2 eyes. Right click and simulation collider, because we're going to collide the pyro with the tin. So now if we go on the tag for this cylinder inside, we just need to have a few changes. Let's have a look. Surface emitter. Now let's go for the full thickness of the cylinder in there. Let's say, well, what we can do here is we can actually say, let's have, I don't know, something like 20 and keyframe it, and then we can actually have this so it pours out and then stops. Like the can's empty. So that's something we can do there by keyframing that from 20 down to 0. So let's just do that. Let's put it on about, I don't know, 30 frames, and then let's go 0. At the moment it's going to be fire, so let's not run the simulation just yet. Right, so we've got that. Let's turn off temperature, let's turn off velocity, turn off noise, 0 that out, just so it's like similar to what I did in the video before, where we're taking all the properties really away from the smoke effects at the moment. Then we add them on as we need them. So in here, let's just match the voxel size to this. So in the main pyro tag, we need to put 3 in so it matches the other one. Let's put a big, now density buoyancy, -5 means it will go up like smoke and fire. Let me just play that and show you that going up like smoke and fire. Look, it's actually colliding with the tin, so you probably can't see that too well. 500 frames, sorry, while I'm here, just so the simulations run longer. Yeah, so basically -5 means it will go up like smoke and fire. So if we put in a a positive number and a really big one, like so 150, it will mean this will then drop down, look, okay? So it's going to pour out rather than go up. Let's take off vorticity for now. Let's see if it's going to be better the smoother it is, because we want this to look like paint and not like anything like smoky or wispy, anything like that. We want to take all that away from it. So let's take away the turbulence. Combustion, yeah, I mean, I don't think we've got that switched on, but let's just zero it anyway. Right, dissipation, again, 7 means it will dissipate and disappear. Paint doesn't disappear, so let's put in a 0. Let's also put a 0 in the absolute density as well. Smoothing, I don't, right, so if we add smoothing, it seems to affect the, when we mesh this in a volume mesher, it seems to affect it, and it kind of like pulses a bit strangely. So I always like to leave that on 0, and I add the smoothing through the mesher. Okay, so we'll leave that at 0. Now, is there anything else? I don't think so. We can always come back in and adjust these. It's all parametric. We don't have to. Okay, so that's looking like that, but it will look more like paint when we add it in the mesher. So let's just grab ourselves a volume mesher. Let's put the Pyro as a child of that. Let's turn off the Pyro visibility, and then on the Pyro object, let's turn on density, and then everything else off. For now, we may need to put the color on at some point here, but let's just try that now. We need to do Control D and make sure we're simulating before the generators, so we see the simulation first. Let's just see if we get anything. Well, we're getting something, but we're getting something quite broken up. So the reason for that is if we go on the mesher and we move this towards 1, somewhere like 1, we can probably get this to look a lot more like a kind of thick visco-y sort of paint. Now that is quite a big amount dropped out there. That could be to do with oh, screen's going off. That could be to do with this having 20 set at the beginning. It's like a big old volume of paint there. So if we bring that down to 1 and then try that again, you see you get a much smaller amount being emitted, and obviously what it does is it's turning off at frame 30, so that's why we're not getting any more generated here. You see, if you don't switch it off, it will just keep generating the paint. Now I'm not sure, I mean that's interesting, isn't it? But I'm not sure that's quite the look we're after for this paint. So if you can't get it with the mesher, you can always put a volume builder in between the two. Okay, and this smooths it out. Look, if I add that in there as a child and put the Pyro under that as a child, and then we bring the voxel size down here to say 1, and the mesher, now we need to push that the other way. And let's see if we've got something looking a bit more. Oh, okay, it's not actually generating it much at all. That's because we've now turned this down too much, I think. And also it's, let's for now, let's just turn off that animation and let's just put in say 5, just so it generates, you know, a continuous amount of paint. Right, so at the moment it's very voxel pixelated here, which is not nice. So on the mesher, or no, it's not actually going to be the mesher this time, it's going to be a smoother. Right, so here though, we've got an SDF smooth, so if we add that, everything suddenly smooths out and looks a lot like paint. Okay, so that's the look we're after. In the mesher, we've then got a bit of control here on how much volume, but we want to go somewhere in the middle, because if you go too far it pixelates, if you go too far the other way it pixelates. So somewhere in the middle, 50% is fine. Right, let's give that a go. So it should just kind of blob out like you'd expect paint to, something like that. Some nice splashes going on as well, which is quite a nice touch. But this level of what you see is controlled by how much density is added. You know, if you start off with a big amount and then reduce it right down, you'll get this big blob and then it will disappear, or you can keep it consistent all the way through. So you'll get a very different look on how much you put there. you'll get a different look on your voxel size. So if we bring voxel sizes down to 1, it may slow it down a little bit if we use 1, but you'll get a much tighter kind of pixel definition here now. Look, so you'll get a lot less pixels showing through. But if your computer can handle 1 on the voxel size, then I would do it, because you get this really nice fluid sorry, can't speak, this really nice fluid look to it. Okay, but for now let's just pop those back up to 3, just so we can have this running a bit quicker in our scene. Okay, let's see what we've got now. Okay, it's going to be slower than it would having just the smoke without the volumes, because it's trying to build these volumes here, look, and we've got 1 voxel there, so it's got to work that out. You know, if you put that up to 5, I think it'll be a lot quicker. It's just, yeah, there you go. But there's no detail there, you see. The voxels are too big. So we have to balance all of this up, you know, and say, right, how much smooth? Maybe we can change that to a 1. Then it goes a bit like gloopy, and then we can probably bring this up to 2, and then it smooths it like that. So you've got a lot of control here on how you want this to look. Just keep trying it really until you get something that really looks quite nice. I think that's looking good. It's got a little bit broken up there, which it's up to you. Whatever look you're after, you can control it in here. Right, so we've got our paint coming out. We need 2, because we're going to mix 1 paint can with another. So basically we're just going to copy the cylinder and the paint tin. So we've got 2 versions. So let's just highlight those, control, copy them. Right, we go. So let's just move this one over. Just highlight those 2. Let's just pop it over there like that, and just spin it round. Can do this, or you can actually do it that way, or you can do it on these coordinates where you can put a minus in here as well. But anyway, just spin them over, so you've got 2 paint cans kind of facing each other. And what we need to do then, we need to get these cans to emit the right color paint, and then mix the paint afterwards. So let's just get a trough. Let's just make a quick trough. We need something for this paint to tip into. So very simply, just something like a cube, stretch it out like that. And then if we make another copy of that, and then this one, we just make it a little bit smaller, lift it up, and then we're going to bool the 2 of them together. So one is cut out of the other one like that. And then we will right click and connect objects and delete, just so we finish up with 1 piece of geometry. And then let's right click on the trough and add a collider, so the paint can collide, and let's call that trough. There we go. So we have our trough, and maybe enlarge it a bit so the paint doesn't miss. If we go to the top view, you'll see if it's positioned correctly underneath the paint can, so we can just move that along like that. Okay. Right, so we have our trough and we have our tins, and we have our paint coming out, but we now need the paint that comes out to be the right colour. So let's just make a couple of colours on here and materials. Let's go yellow for this one. Let's put that on this paint tin here, and let's make blue for the other one. And pop that on that paint tin. Right, so they're the tins, and now the paint inside needs to match those colours. So what we do is, if we go, actually I'll delete that, I think I've got something on there that was left over from something before. So right, what we do is we want a vertex color to control colors from the Pyro. So what we do is we go on the mesher and we right click and we go other tags, vertex color. Okay, and if we click on that, it's got fields enabled. So we need to drag, if we open this up, the Pyro into there, the Pyro default into there, right? So it's going to reference the color now from the Pyro. So what we need is, if we go to this one, which is yellow, this is going to be the yellow paint in the first tin. Here where it says color, we can do yellow. Now if we get the same color yellow, we can go on here, we can click, right click here, go copy, then we can go back to our flame, and on here we can right click and say paste, right? So we get the same yellow. And if we do the same thing for the blue, we right click, copy, go onto the other flame and right click and paste. Okay, so we've got one cylinder on the yellow side which is having yellow on it, and then the other cylinder, which is used inside here, has got blue on it. Now we need these to show up. At the moment they're not going to show up, so if we start to render these now, look, or play these, you see we've still got white paint because there's no color material applied to say use these colors. You know, the vertex map color map is there, but it's not referencing any material. So we need to make another material, and we need to say let's use this vertex color that we've now created. So we go onto texture here, we go onto effects, and we go onto vertex map. Click on vertex map, and now it's asking for a map, and we have one, the one that we've just made. So we drop that in there, and now we need to add this material to the mesher. So if we drop it on the mesher, you saw something change there. So it should, excuse me, it should start to bring these colors through. Now the reason it didn't change to the yellow and the blue is, I probably mentioned this at the beginning when I started setting this up, is under the Pyro tag, under object, we haven't got color turned on, we turned it off. So if we turn on the color, yeah, now it started to get the color, but we can make this color look even better. So it's referenced the colors, okay, because it's pulling it through from here, from this tag, and it's putting it through the vertex color into there. Now the colors look a little bit washed out, don't they? We've got a pale yellow and like a pale blue. Now the way we can change that is if we go onto the vertex color here, we can add an effect in here to make these stronger. So we go on to clamp, and then we go on to curve. Okay, now this curve obviously starts right down here at 0 and right up to the top there. We need to change this and push it together a bit closer, and then it will make these colors stronger. So if we drag the bottom one, you just watch on the screen what happens. Look, it's starting to go. So you can just keep pushing this until you get like there. I think it's the same color. Yeah, if you go too much, it will probably go too dark and it will start to distort, but you can just push this along. You know, it's too pale there, just push it along until you get sort of a similar match going on. Okay, so we've now got some paints coming out of tins, same color. Yeah, now if we take a quick render of that, we should, let's just have a look, let's just see if we've got it. Yeah, there we go. Now there's a little, as you can see here, I just want to point this out because this may be something they'll address in some updates to the software. But some of these, like up here as well, look, there's a lot of disturbance and strange colours happen. The way to get over that, now I don't know if anyone knows this, that's going to be watching this video, and if you do, please leave a comment below because this has been kind of confusing me for a while. But if we move our scene, so if we just highlight everything, and if we move our scene away, and probably, sorry, yeah, that one, yeah, you see what's happening? If we move it out away from the center, you know, if we move it away from the 0 center, these colors, all of that disturbance disappears. And if we come back towards the middle, it all starts to feed back in. So I don't know if anyone knows what that is, whether it's a mistake, whether it's something that I've overlooked, please let me know what that is, because it does it to all of my simulations and I just have to move them off center, move it all out away from the center there, and then it cures the problem. Anyway, that's a little side note. If anyone does know, please let me know. Right, so that is that, and we've now got the colors. Well, what they do, they're obviously going to come down and they're going to, I've got another color over here for some reason. I think it's because I've moved it. Yeah, this is the other thing. Because I've moved these colors, we now have to grab the mesher and we have to pull these colors back. and pop them back into place. So yeah, this definitely needs addressing. This, you know, what this kind of why those colours get distorted like that is a real mystery for me, because yeah, we now need to get this to line up again, which is a little bit annoying, but yeah, we can do it. We can get there. So okay, what's going to happen is they're going to come down here and they're going to mix into this trough. And let's just get a better angle to show you. They're actually hitting the sides, but it just shows you that, you know, it's got a collider on it and it's going to hit anything it collides with. Right, so what we want then is we want this paint, as it splashes into the bottom here, is we want it to change colour, like it's mixing this colour together. And we might, let's just add a little bit more. We've only got 5 on there. Let's add 10 on the density, because I think we need a little bit more paint to come out of the tin, because it's looking a bit sparse down here. All right, so yeah, we want these colours to mix into green. So how do we get the colour that's now this one's, look, it's also getting into that area which is probably going to be disturbed by that colour. You see on this axis, it all has to move over. Look, I'm not going to. If you know the answer to that, please let me know, because then I'll know exactly how to do this next time. So I'm just going to show you now how to get that to go green. So what we do, on the trough, we right click and we add another Pyro tag. This time we're only interested in colour. So we're going to turn off temperature, velocity. Don't know if it matters about noise, because we're just going to be looking at, and we're going to turn off the density, and we're only going to have a look at the colour. Right, so on the colour, we just simply say green. Right, so whatever colour green we want, that would be a result of those two mixing together, we put in there. And then what happens is when this paint then comes out, so you might have to just wait for this to simulate again. When this paint comes out, when it touches that area, so it's probably going to do it as it just goes past the surface of the top. There we go, look, it's going to go green because it's touching an area that's been assigned to turn everything green. Okay, so apart from these odd colours, now there is a way of getting rid of some of these. I've found is if we go on the Vertex Color Tag here and we make another copy of this, right? So we make 2, and then we name the first one Vertex Color Map 1, and then the next one 2. And then what we do on the second one under fields is we delete this, and then we drag the first one in. Okay, and then we click on it, and then we say the mode, let's have an average, and then let's say put, I don't know if that's actually, is that, should actually reference that now between these two colours. There we go. So you see what's happened, it's blurring out all of those imperfections, because we're kind of putting a blur between everything, and we're kind of smoothing it through, so it's not going to be quite as harsh, and it's not going to have all those funny like voxel disturbance pieces. There's probably something that just needs overlooking, or something that's been overlooked, sorry, that needs addressing in the next release. I'm pretty sure that is like that, because I can't see why it would do that, honestly. You know, if you move it off center and it works, then it should work in position. So yeah, let me know. It is something that's been bugging me for a little while. So I hope that helps on colors. Do you know why that's done that? I need to show you, because it's, you know, it's no good having it nice here and not nice in the render. It's because we now need to reference the color tag 2 on our material. Okay, we're looking at the first one. We need to be looking at the one we've just done with the blending between it. Okay, and now if we look at it, it's going to be the blended version. So don't forget to update that. When you do the blend, use that as the reference. Okay, if it doesn't change anything. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that's something you can play with, mixing colors, changing, you know, one color to another. You can do this on so many different things. You can use it you know, it can change to one color, it could be printing inks, and then it could change to another, and then it can change back. So yeah, just have an experiment. That's all I say. I will see you in another video very shortly. Going to be doing it in the next week, ending with a really big pyro one. And then I'm going to draw a line under these and look at other simulations. So look out for that one. My name is Mike Germans from Visual Animation. Take care. Goodbye for now.